What's up? Real John King here again. Welcome to another random road story. Since I'm already on the subject of race, not something that I talk about a lot, but it comes up every now and then. This story here took place in Atlanta, Georgia. I was working at the what was it, the Punchline? Yeah, it was the Punchline Comedy Club in Atlanta. It was located in the underground. It was a really new club. It hadn't been around but for I don't know, a couple of years, maybe even less than that. Really nice club though. Now the thing about the story is, right next to the Punchline in the underground in Atlanta was a I want to say it was a blues club, but I'm not sure if it was just blues that they did there. I think it was a nightclub that did a lot of blues. I'm sure they had different artists there, different musical artists there. But because it was right next door to the Punchline, it was a place that comics would go hang out after the show. And that's what happened that night after the show. Me and two other comics, we went to this club next to the Punchline Comedy Club, and we was hanging out in there. We was having a few drinks, just kind of kicking it. And that particular night, there was a blues artist there named Eddie the Chief Clearwater, who was a really good blues artist. I'm not sure that everybody's familiar with who Eddie the Chief is. He never got to be a really nationally known artist, but I mean, between blues enthusiasts and people that really followed that genre of music, I think most people knew who he was. At least I did. And what was really cool about the whole thing was I talked to him during one of the breaks, and I told him that I played harmonica, and I talked to him and let me come up and play some tunes with him. So on this particular night, I went up and I played a tune with him, and he liked what I did. So he said, "Hey man, stick around, and play a couple more tunes." I played some more tunes with him that night. So this was during the week. So the next night, me and the comics came back and we was hanging out at the club again because, of course, we dug the club, we dug the band, and on this particular night, now I must say this. I know a lot of times I don't say what the race or the characters was in the stories, but just so you get a clear understanding of what was going on, the other two comics I was working with was white, and you'll see why I said that because then it'll make the story make more sense as I go on further into what happened. So me and the other two comics, we at the bar, man. We just kind of chilling, and there was this young lady that come up to us. She was a Caucasian lady, and I'm mentioning this too because it, keeps the story in its proper context so you understand what was going on. So now it was three of us there. Now she could have asked anybody, out of the three to dance with her, but for whatever reason, and I think I might know what the reason is, she asked me to dance. So I was like, nah, I don't really dance. And she's like, oh, come on, man, come on, dance with me. I said, well, there's other two guys here. Why you ain't ask one of them to dance? She said, because I asked you to dance. So the other two comments like, damn, man, go ahead and dance with her, man. I mean, what's the what's the big deal? She asked you to dance, man. Go ahead and dance with her. So I was like, all right. So I went ahead and danced with her, man. We only danced one record. So I came back to the bar where we were sitting at, and we was just kind of tatting it up, man, kicking it, having a good time, listening to the band and stuff. So then a few minutes later, she comes back over to where I was at crying. And she was like, you see those guys? She said, you see those guys sitting at the tables next to the table that I'm sitting at? And I was like, well, yeah. She said, well, one of the guys over there, he threatened to beat me up for dancing with you because you're a black guy. He said that he was going to kick my ass for dancing with a black guy. So I was like, well, he ain't really said nothing to me. I didn't really know what to do, to be honest with you. The only thing I was thinking was, well, he hadn't approached me and said anything. What he said it to her. So I was like, ma'am, I don't really know what to tell you. I say, but until he come and approach me and say anything, there's really not a whole lot that I can do. So the other two guys was like, well, John, if he come over here, man, we got your back. And I was like, I appreciate that, man, because I don't know how many people at that table feel the same way he do. So it was nice to know that the other two comics was willing to stick their neck out in case something jumped off there, man. See, the thing about Atlanta is Atlanta has grown to be so big, man. And it has grown out. I think it takes up the whole county now. So there's people that lives within the city limits of Atlanta that will stand in some smaller rural areas. So I think that the city itself outgrew the racial makeup of the city. There's probably a lot of people of different races in Atlanta, and probably a lot of white people that don't really have an issue with black people there. But I think that there's still some people there that lives in the metropolitan area that do, and that guy must have been one of them. Like I said, I didn't see the girl get beat up. The guy that was threatening to beat her up never approached me and said anything. And the night went on without incident. So I was happy for that, man, because I really didn't want to get into no bar fight in there, and I didn't want to have my fellow comics get into a bar fight because of me dancing with somebody. And but I tell you what, we hung out there the rest of that week, and I didn't dance with no damn body. I didn't want no shit to jump off. And we got through the rest of the week, man, without anything happening. So that's my story about that incident in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, folks. See you on the next story. Take